Welcome to another episode of Will It Work? I'm Kevin. Today we're looking at the Sega Mark III. If you're not familiar with the Sega Mark III, it is essentially a Master System, Sega Master System, that was originally made for the Japanese market. Sega, like Nintendo, had, got into the 8-bit gaming market around the same time. Sega released the SG-1000, which was their first 8-bit machine, and they right when that had come out, Nintendo had introduced the NES, and the SG-1000 was not a success for Sega, and it did fairly poorly. And they had remodeled it a couple of times in terms of, changing around the configuration because it had like wired-in controllers, so they made them unpluggable and things of that nature. And they called that like the Mark II, but it was really the same system, right? It was just a different configuration, kind of like a PlayStation Slim. With the Mark III, their intention was to, give something more powerful than the NES, which it was, and over there was the Famicom. Sega used the special graphics chip inside the Master System / Mark III, which enabled them to have the same graphic power as their arcade systems at the time. It was not a 16-bit system. Either we hadn't gotten to the Sega Genesis yet, but this was their attempt to sort of put up a fight against Nintendo. It didn't do well, and not because it wasn't more powerful or because it was difficult to program on or anything of that nature, but it was just a matter of the point where Nintendo was very well entrenched. They were the leading system, they had the biggest market share, and they had an exclusivity licensing deal with developers. So if you developed something for the NES, you weren't allowed to develop things for other consoles for however long that term was. And both companies had very draconian and difficult licensing agreements with third-party developers anyway. Sega, of course, does have a very healthy arcade library of games of its own, and there was a fairly well-managed, selection of games, but it was nothing like the Nintendo Entertainment System. I mean, the Nintendo Entertainment System breathed new life into home console video gaming. I will have a Master System. We'll talk about that in a future video. They obviously do take different cartridges. This is a more of a square cart, where the Master System is rectangular. So in terms of collecting, they're a little bit different in that respect, right? They also both take the Hue card. That was something that, the TurboGrafx did really well with those cards, but the Master System only had a handful of those, and they eventually abandoned them for regular cartridge when they released the Master System 2, which was just a kind of like a PlayStation Slim version of the unit. Repackaged. There was also 3D glasses for this. They were 3D shutter glasses. I had them at one point. What happened was when the Sega Genesis came out, I had purchased a Sega Genesis. There was a module that went on top called the base system. I had purchased that, and then I had acquired the 3D glasses at the time, and you would connect those in to the Hue card slot, I believe, if my memory serves, and the game would go in. It worked actually rather well. There was a handful of games that supported the 3D glasses. There was one that even used the light gun. It was kind of like a missile command kind of thing, where missiles were flying at you, and you had to shoot them out of the sky while they were coming at you. It worked, but like most 3D things, if you've experienced 3D, not VR, but just 3D, it has limited utility in terms of gaming. It's not this amazing experience. It's kind of nifty once, etc., but yeah, so after that. It does have an expansion in the front here. There's an expansion bay. I'm not really sure what it would be used for. It looks like maybe this was some sort of slot here on both sides of some sort that was clipped or something. I'm not sure. But I do like the overall thin, flat design. When they came out with the base system in North America, it was more bubbled over. It was a little bit larger looking. Maybe they were trying to make it look a little bit more substantial. And at that time, you know, maybe that was the right thing to do. I think today it doesn't help sell it. I like the smaller design of this, and this is a cleaner design. In fact, if we take this cartridge out, and they even have like a lid, just kind of like the NES, except not when the game's in it. But it kind of keeps the control port from getting dirty, and overall it's just a nice flat. You could just slide that under something and have a nice little system. So kind of cool, right? And on the back it has your standard RF out, but there is an external out that goes to composite, right? Which is great. The NES also had a composite out, which is early days type stuff compared to other 8-bit consoles at the time that were still doing RF. So all in all, it was a good attempt by Sega to get into the market. They just couldn't get around Sega's or Nintendo's business dealings. As for the joypad, it came with this bubble right here on top, and by the looks of things, I got this from Japan, and it looks like this one might have been glued back on at some point or reinforced with some glue. They may have screwed in, but these things look like they're pretty brittle overall, and I think maybe that's just because gamers were used to the Nintendo type situation. So this second pad is a lot more used, and we can kind of see that that broke off. The glue didn't hold it. I can't quite tell though if that hole indicates that this was screwed on as well. But either way, it still works. It's just that now it's more of a pad, which I think probably somebody broke it off on purpose more than by accident, just so they can play the game comfortably with the pad. This one button on the right is also kind of worn and smoothed over almost, and that almost seems like it would be on purpose. I don't know why someone would shave the plastic to make the button more flush on both sides. It's weird. It's weird, but that's not it. The console doesn't come this way. I'm just showing you a little bit of an oddity, getting it imported out of Japan. Made in Taiwan, too. Japan, what's going on? You can't make your own game system? I'm just kidding. That's how the world is everywhere. So what I'll do is I only have Champion Soccer for this. I'll put this in. We'll switch over to the video side, and we'll just take a quick look at it. I'm not expecting, anything impressive here from a soccer game, but we'll at least get to see if it works. And like I said, we will get to the Master System, which has the exact same hardware other than the cartridge configuration, and we'll see that in the future. All right, here we go. All right. So we've got Champion Soccer here on the Sega Mark III. And there's a little demo of the game going on. Kind of looks like almost like a simple soccer kind of configuration there. We got a bunch of different 1984. That's kind of cool. Got a bunch of different sprites moving around on the screen. It's in color. Not sure who I am. I think I'm the orange guys, because you can tell how poorly they're running around here. Oh no, I'm blue. There's the arrow. Okay. Oop. Kick that thing right out of bounds. Just the one button's like a big boot kick. Oh, is it like 2-player? Let's go for it. I got to get behind the ball. Ugh. Ugh. This is awful. Old school control schemes, man. What is going on with this? Here we go. All right, guys, let's turn around and take it the other way. over. Oh my god. This is the worst. I can do really well scoring on myself. I'm trying to get the ball to go up. Ah, the goalie got it. All right, anyway, we can kind of see this works. It's just a master system. Soccer's not going to be that impressive for anybody, I'm sure. There is a pause button here. Let's try pushing that. That do anything? Well, it doesn't even pause. It must be only used in certain games or something. But Sega Mark III, it's just a chapter out of Sega's history. I do not currently own a Sega Mark I, but I am on the lookout for it. Maybe before this is all said and done, I'll have one. They're not particularly rare. But like I said, I do have a master system, so we'll get that in here and we'll have a look at it. Thanks for watching.